Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sophie. If you don't already know me, I am the Flying Fit Foodie over on Instagram. Today's class we will be working up towards side crow. So if you haven't done side crow before, welcome. It's going to be a fun journey. We're going to prepare the body physically and mentally to get into the pose. We'll try out a few different options, and if we make it into the pose, awesome job. If you didn't, awesome job, because you tried and you landed here on your mat. So welcome. We're going to be starting seated. So if you have a block or a pillow, I would suggest that you start seated on one of these. So in our cross-legged position, placing the block underneath us, just bring the heels in towards the sit bones and allow the knees to drop down. If you're on a pillow as well, it will still facilitate the same opening at the front of the hips. Just allows you to sit up straight in the spine and allows you to just be chilled. So we're not going to be fidgety for a few moments, just going to find some stillness before we start to bring our mind, breath and body together. Take a nice inhale, close the eyes if you haven't already. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears and exhale, release them down the spine. Sit nice and tall. Relax the jaw. Relax the eyes. Relax the eyebrows. Start to bring your awareness to your breath. Start to lengthen the inhales and the exhales. Tune into the sensations of the body. Belly moving up into a balloon shape as you inhale. And as you exhale, drawing the navel in closer towards the spine, expelling all of the air out. All you have to do is focus on the breath now. Take 3 steady breaths, just like that. It's just focusing on the movement of the body, the temperature of the air as it moves in through the nose, and how the temperature has changed on the way out through the nose. Find lightness in the seat. Sit up a little bit taller, breathe in. Take one last slow, steady breath here. It's just setting the mantra of presence for today's class. And just take a few moments and think about what presence means to you. Maybe it means just being here on the mat, listening to my voice, following my instructions, not allowing any other distractions to get in the way of the next 30 minutes or so. When you're ready, drop the chin down in towards the chest, slowly blink, open the eyes, letting some light into the eyes. Sweep the hands all the way up over the head. Exhale, bring the hands down into the heart center. From here, you have the option of staying seated on the block, or you can remove the block. I'm going to remove the block just so I've got a bit of extra space to maneuver. So from here, we're going to bring our hands back into the prayer position. Bring the elbows up to meet one another. Really push the shoulders away, so you want to feel that doming sensation behind the shoulder blades, stretching the shoulder blades, press the palms together. From here, squeeze the core in, take an inhale. Exhale, twisting over to the right side. Noticing there's a very little twist coming from the middle of your spine. That's very normal. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, over to the left side. Good, inhale back to center. Moving at your own pace now through these, but try to really move with awareness. Noticing if your hips are starting to come into the movement, maybe your knees are starting to come up. Keep drawing elbows together, pressing, lifting up a little bit higher so the triceps are parallel to the ground. Maybe you're noticing one side is a little bit tighter than the other. Again, that's really normal. So as I move to the right side, I can feel my left knee start to wiggle up. So I'm telling that left hip flexor to just relax and stay nice and open, close into the ground. Good. Take one more each way. Keep pressing the palms together. You won't find a lot of movement here in this portion of the spine. That's okay. Good. Bring it back to center. Shaking out the arms. From here, spread the fingertips forward. We're going to twist over to the right side, just with the body again. So we're not doing any passive stretching to begin with. We're just working on mobility and our own strength. So moving through here, left to right, exhaling as we twist. Inhaling back to center, keep protracting the shoulders, lifting forward. Good. One more of these each way. Feeling any tightness through one side to the other, knowing that's completely normal. Bringing the hands back to center. Now we're going to go for a passive stretch, which is going to feel really, really nice after doing that active stretch. Take the right hand behind you, left hand comes to the outside of the right knee. Lift the chest, really peel that left shoulder blade down the back, twisting through the middle of the spine, feeling really juicy and nice. Keep peeling that left shoulder blade back. Maybe that right hand can come around, search for the inside of the left thigh, coming into a bit of a bind, really assisting the twist. Maybe your right shoulder blade moves back, maybe you can gaze back too. Take an inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, remove yourself from the twist. Told you it would feel good. Left hand comes around to the back, right hand comes outside of left knee. Inhale, really reach through the chest, pull that right shoulder blade back, walk that left hand back a little bit more if you can. Really moving through the twist. Maybe left hand searches for inside of right thigh again. Lift and lengthen through the spine, inhale. Exhale, release yourself from the twist. Nice, let's come into a cat-cow position. So, tabletop position, hands are stacked underneath the shoulders, drawing the navel in, knees are underneath the hips. Let's push the ground away as we take a nice exhale here. So we're squeezing all of the air out of the belly, dropping the chest down towards the chest, chin to chest. Drop the belly down, inhale, lift, tailbone up, draw the shoulder blades back. Exhale, round through the spine. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Now's your time to find any organic movements you like to. So in this class, we're moving through a lot of twisting. So we want to be working this flexion and extension of the spine as well into this cat-cow pose. So maybe you find some more organic movements, shifting through a bit of child's pose, dropping the belly down, maybe bending the elbows, doing whatever feels good, maybe taking some barrel rolls, taking the ribs left and right, drawing big circles, staying with the breath here. Good, pressing down through index finger, thumb, pressing those fingertips into the mat, really making that connection with the ground now. If you're drawing circles, taking those circles in the opposite way, maybe starting to add in a little bit of bending through the arms. Good, beautiful. Doing a few more of those, maybe taking some circles over the wrists now to start to warm up the wrists. So we're going to take those circles in the opposite way. Try to draw the shoulder blades over the fingertips to really get used to working with your weight into the forward portion of the hand, working that flexion of the wrists. Good. From here, let's walk our hands slightly forward. And then we're going to come into a thread the needle. So we're going to take our right hand all the way forward, drop that left shoulder blade down towards the floor, pressing through here, maybe walking that right fingertip up towards the top of the mat. If this feels good, you can take the weight into the left foot and maybe take it into a bit of a float. So drawing the core in, pushing, pushing, pushing. So nice and active in that right foot. Exhale, bringing it down. The right hand comes down to by the face, push the ground away, stick the left hand all the way up into twist in the opposite direction. Good, let's take it in the other way. Walk that left hand forward, right hand threads underneath down to the ground, right ear comes down to the floor. Lift and I can't talk today, guys. Lift and lengthen the left fingertips up towards the top of the mat. Take the weight into the right knee this time. Option is to stay on the ground, or you can extend that left foot up to the sky, just coming into a little bit of a balance. So still a nice stretch, just starting to activate a little bit more of the body now. Releasing that knee in down to the floor. Left hand comes to the face, sweep the right hand all the way up to the sky, pushing the ground away. Exhale, taking that hand down. Beautiful. Walk the hands forward slightly, tuck the toes under, lifting into our first plank. Tucking the tailbone ever so slightly so it shoots down towards the bottom of the mat, not so we're squeezing our butt under completely, just staying a little bit nice and active, maintaining a nice neutral spine. Push the ground away ever so slightly so the back of the heart lifts, holding here. Relaxing the neck, relaxing the head. Good. On your next inhale breath, let's move up to downward facing dog. Hips up towards the sky, bending the legs as much as you need to now. Let's take a nice walk out so you can lift the feet off the ground even. Stretching through, maybe this is your first downward facing dog of the day. So be nice and kind to yourself. Focus on the shoulders here, pushing the ground away, active all the way from your fingertips up to your shoulders. Draw the last rib in, so spine is nice and neutral. We're not trying to bend and bring our chest forward towards our thighs. We're active, like we're kind of diving into a bit of a swimming pool. Good. Couple more breaths here. Then finding stillness in our downward facing dog. Taking 2 breaths here. Push the ground away, stay nice and active. So if your downward dog feels easy, you need to work a bit harder. Bring the shoulders into action. Really push the ground away. Engaging your serrata, so you're protracting the shoulders and almost rotating the eye of the elbows in towards one another, facing forward, creating that nice stable scapular position. Last breath here. Then bring the toes together to touch. Take the right leg up towards the sky into our 3-legged dog. Lift the leg a little bit higher, squeeze the glute. Try to keep the hips level, so maybe right hip needs to come down slightly. Squeeze the glute, take the toe higher. Exhale, bring the knee in towards the chest. Round through the shoulders, the shoulders come over the top of the wrist, squeezing here. Good. From here, we're going to take that knee to the left elbow, tap it here. Try to get them to engage, holding, holding, holding. We're going to extend that leg to the outside of the mat, coming into our fallen triangle. So before we rotate, push the ground away. Back foot rotates onto the side. Push the right fingertips into the mat. Left fingertips come up towards the sky. Nice and active through the bottom shoulder. Squeeze the glutes. Lift the hips a little bit higher. Good. Option to stay here. Option to work a little bit harder. Floating that foot up off the mat. For 1, 2, and 3. Slowly release that foot down to the ground. Left hand finds the mat. Squeezing the knee in towards the chest and releasing it at the top of the mat. If it doesn't quite make it, bringing the ankle in with you. Dropping the left knee down towards the ground. Taking a brief moment here if we move into our Anjaneyasana. Inhale, sweep the hands all the way up towards the sky. Draw that lower belly in. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Nice. And then bring the hands into the center of the chest. Squeeze the navel in towards the spine. I'm going to take a twist. So left elbow is going to twist over to outside of the right knee. Really bring the thumbs in towards the sternum if you can, twisting through the spine. Right elbow leads the way as you look towards the back of the room. Make sure your back heel isn't rotating to the side. Falling in, falling out, nice and active, parallel to the side of the mat. Have a little look between your elbow, double check your own alignment. Lift the chest up a little bit more. Holding here. Try to get the belly off the thigh if it's resting. Squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Without holding the breath. Nice. From here we're going to lift the chest up, coming into an open arm twist. Revolved low crescent. Active fingertips pointing away, making sure your shoulders are nice and level. Draw the belly in, really sucking up that lower portion of the ribs. Nice. Option to stay here, or option to float that back knee if you want to work a little bit harder. Make sure your front knee is stacked on top of your ankle. Inhale. Exhale, bring the hands to the front, coming up into our high lunge. If your back knee is down, now's the time to lift it into our high lunge. Stepping forward to the front of the mat, sinking down into our chair. If your arms are working a little bit hard, you can bring the hands to the heart center, your choice. Making sure you can see your big toes just beyond your knees. You don't need to sink too far, but just a little bit. Maybe challenge yourself here. Good. Taking that twist again, left elbow crosses over onto the right knee. Stacking the elbows if you can, pressing the palms together. Good. Releasing from the twist. Exhale, come into your forward fold. Softening the legs as much as you need to allow the belly to just rest down onto the thighs. Take this as a resting pose. Let the head hang heavy. Maybe take a rock from side to side, feeling the difference between left and right. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Fingertips can come to the shins, top of thighs, or extend them out behind you if you like to find and feel that lightness in the chest. Staying nice and active. Exhale, fold. Inhale, let's rise all the way up, one vertebrae at a time. Softening the knees, sweeping the hands all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring them down to the heart center. Taking a moment here, feeling the difference between left and right side. Pause. Inhale, sweep the hands all the way up. Exhale, take the hands out nice and wide, stretching through the chest, coming down to allow the belly to fall onto the thighs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take the hands down to the floor, stepping it back into our plank position. Working through our Chaturanga, taking the first one on our knees. Push the ground away. Take the shoulder blades slightly down, and then depress them. So you're depressing your shoulder blades slightly down, relaxing the neck here. You can tuck or untuck the toes, up to you. Exhale, bending the elbows. Inhale, rolling up into our upward facing dog or your high cobra, wherever you are, your choice. Inhale, coming into your downward facing dog. Taking a breath here before we move over onto the other side. Take one more breath. Good. Let's bring the big toes together to touch, taking it over onto the left side. Now sweep the leg up to the sky. Again, drawing that left hip slightly down, so if you know you tend to sway it open, plug it down, squeeze the left glute. Push the ground away, stay nice and active. And now we're going to take that exhale, bring the knee in towards the center of the chest. Roll so the shoulders are over, stacked over the wrist. Squeezing, lifting here. Good. Now let's extend. Take that knee over to the right elbow, tap it here. Extend it nice and long now, ready for fallen triangle. Before we push up and over, rotate that back foot to the side, push into the left hand, sweep that right hand up towards the ceiling. Again, not dumping weight into our shoulder, pushing the ground away here. Finding a nice long straight line. Option to stay here or float that left foot up off the mat for 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop that foot down. Take that right hand down to the mat. Bring the center of the knee into the chest. Take that left foot forward to the front of the mat. Good. Up onto the fingertips, dropping that back knee down. And Anjaneyasana, tuck or untuck that back toe, completely up to you. Draw that belly up off the thigh. Sweep the hands up towards the sky. Take a nice long inhale here. Feeling good in the spine, lengthening up through. As you exhale, hands down, come to the front of the heart into prayer position. Taking that hook, that twist, right elbow hooks outside of left. Gazing towards the back of the mat if you can, twisting through the base of the spine. Try to get the hands into the center of the sternum at the heart center. Try to draw the belly away from the thighs. Suck it in. Twisting, staying nice and active. Working these obliques onto the side. Good. making sure our back heel isn't wobbling all over the place, staying nice and active, is parallel to the side of the mat. Option here, floating the hands, inhale, lifting, straightening out the arms, gaze to the back of the mat. Again, we have the option of staying here. Want to challenge yourself? You can tuck that back toe, lift that back knee, staying in the twist. Draw lower belly in, making sure wherever you are, knee is stacked over the top of the front ankle here. Inhale. Exhale. Sweep the hands all the way to the front of the mat. If you're in low lunge, now's the time to float that back knee, coming up into our high lunge. Good, here we go. Let's step that back foot to the front of the mat, sinking down into chair. Your chair, you can either have your feet toes together or feet parallel, your choice. Wherever you feel more comfortable. Bring the hands to the heart center. Exhale, twist to the left side, making sure that right knee hasn't shifted forward, comes in line with left. Gazing to the back. Good. Inhale to center. Exhale, forward fold. Relax the head, relax the neck here. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to wherever feels good for you. Find that long, nice spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Sweep the hands over the head. Exhale, bring the hands to the center of the heart. Take a moment here. Settle in. If you've lost your breath, now's the time to reconnect back to it. Good. Blinking to open the eyes if you had them closed. Sweep the hands all the way up. Exhale, let's bring the hands all the way down to the floor. Bringing them gently down, we're going to heel toe the feet out nice and wide and slowly sink our bums down to the mat, coming into our Malasana. If your heels are up off the floor, take a little bit of movement. We're working to get each of the heels down, so maybe you need to work a little bit more on that ankle mobility and it will come. Just need to be a little bit more patient with it. Good. If your heels are still lifted, take the bum a little bit higher so that your heels can drop down. If you're all the way down to the floor in a passive stretch, you're going to take 2 breaths here, and then we're going to move up into a slightly higher Malasana. So working the glutes for 1, elbows pushing knees apart. For 2, active outside of glutes. So not the elbows doing the work, they're assisting, but outside of glute, it's fired up too. So if you let go of your elbow, your knee will stay there. It won't collapse in. Working towards that. Good. Exhale, forward fold in a bit of a wide-legged pigeon position. Inhale, halfway lift. Heel toe the feet together. Good. Press the palms down to the mat. Step it back. Option to take a Chaturanga or take it all the way into your downward dog. Straight away, your choice. Upward facing dog or high cobra, meeting back in downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Option to come down to the floor, as always for child's pose. Taking 5 breaths of your choice in your downward facing dog or in your child's pose. Reconnecting back to the breath now if you feel that you've lost your way. Two more breaths wherever you are. On your next inhale, look up between the thumbs. If you're in child's pose, we're meeting back in our downward facing dog. Tucking the toes under, lifting up. Gazing over to your right ankle now. Press into the right hand, lift the left fingertips up off the mat. See if you can walk your hand over to your right ankle, come into a twist, really pulling, lengthening through. Exhale, release, walking that left hand back down, looking over towards your left ankle. Take the weight into the left hand, walk the right fingertips up off the mat, walk them over to the left ankle, coming into a nice lift. Exhale, release. Good. Let's bring the big toes together to touch. Take the right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, knee in towards the chest. Tiger curl here. Roll slowly so shoulders come stacked over the wrists. Release that foot between the hands. Coming straight away up into our high lunge. So bending into that front leg, sweeping the hands all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart center. Putting a little bit of a bend in that back knee so we're not coming into a back bend, keeping a nice neutral spine here. From here, left elbow crooks onto the outside of the right knee, twisting through the spine, nice and active through that back heel. Again, finding that nice twist wherever you are. Gaze towards the back of the mat. Good. Staying in the twist, we're going to step that left foot to the front of the mat to meet the right foot from here. Gazing towards the back now. I'm going to demo this way for you. Much easier. So left elbows touching onto the right knee, coming into that twist, thumb to the sternum. From here, we're going to move ready into our side crow. So coming up onto the heels, the balls of the feet, keeping that left elbow attached to the right knee. This is where we're going to find our balance. So keeping that point of contact as you come into this position is really going to help you maintain that initial position. Ideally, in our side crow, our elbows are going to meet at the top and the bottom of our femur, so at the end of the hip and the knee joint. Coming into our Chaturanga arms with that twist we've been working on. Hands are going to come down to the floor. Notice I'm keeping my elbows attached to my body, attached to my hip and my knee. This is where we're going to find that stability. So as I rotate around, keeping them attached, our gaze is going to shift forward, like in our normal crow. Gaze is shifting forward. My knees are going to stay glued together. So my left knees are not going to hover off. They're going to stay nicely glued. We're going to take the weight into our fingertips, leaning forward. And very gently, if you keep the knees together, what should happen is very gently you should float the back feet up off the mat. Keep pushing the ground away. Strong Chaturanga arms. Feet and knees are still together. Good. If you made it that far, good job. If you're not quite there yet, keep practicing. And if you want a pillow in front of your face, go for it. So if you're in our side crow, option to stay here. If you're feeling super comfortable in your side crow, maybe you hover that left knee up off the knee now. And then we can extend and split the legs, but keep the gaze shifting forward, elbows nice and active, pushing away with the fingertips, pointing the toes. For 1, 2, 3, coming back the way we came in, slowly bring the knees in together, dropping the feet down, sweeping our hands back, moving into our side chair, twisted chair. Sweep the hands all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take a forward fold. Step or hop back into your plank Chaturanga, option to drop onto your knees, saving your arms, or full Chaturanga, your choice. Inhale, lift and lengthen up. Exhale, rolling back over the toes into downward facing dog. Good, we're taking 2 breaths here before we move on to the other side. So if you nailed it in that side crow, good job. We're going to go for the other side. Meeting back in our downward facing dog. Bring the big toes together to touch. Take the left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, knee in towards the chest, squeezing it here. Releasing the foot between the hands. Sweeping our hands all the way up into our high lunge. Beautiful. Softening that back knee. Bring the hands to the center of the heart. Coming into that twist. Left elbow, right elbow attaches onto the left. Good. So from our twist, we're going to stay in the twist, press the palms of the hands together. Right foot is going to come to meet the left foot at the front of the mat, sinking into our chair twist. Really, really, really keep twisting through here, checking that right knee is just stacked with the left foot. Left knee, and then we're going to sink all the way down, lifting the heels up off the mat, and then keeping that left elbow engaged in the right knee, taking those hands into our cactus arms, Chaturanga arms, bending the elbows, knees Elbows attached onto the knee and the hip. Again, bring the hands underneath the shoulders, so about shoulder width apart, so you can have that nice solid base. Gaze comes forward. Draw the core in, protract the shoulders. Again, we're going to take our weight down to the ground. Take the weight into the elbows, keeping the knees together, squeezing, squeezing, noticing the feet hovering up off the mat. Keep pushing the ground away. If you're in side crow, give it a go. Take those feet out to the side, stretching through the toes. Keep looking forward. Try to not dip the shoulders below the elbows. I know it's hard. 1, 2, and 3. Slowly bringing the knees in together, pushing back up, coming back in the way we came, into our side chair. Beautiful. Exhale, release from the twist. Come into our forward fold. Inhale, take a halfway lift here, stretching out the back of the legs. Then we're going to roll all the way down back into our forward fold. Bending the knees, taking the hips all the way down towards the floor. Maybe the hands come forward, rolling down onto our bum, and just allowing ourselves to slowly melt into the ground. Relaxing the shoulders onto the floor. Option to hug the knees in towards the chest. Taking a rock from side to side, massaging out the spine. And then placing the feet down into the mat. Beautiful. From here, opening up the shoulder blades, finding a nice neutral spine, draw the belly in towards the floor. Having the feet about parallel, making sure you can touch your heels here. Press into the left foot, bring the right knee in towards the chest. Maybe give a bit of a squeeze, flex the foot. Take the foot over the top of the left knee now, opening up to the right side. It's going to move into a single leg glute bridge, but with our knee, our hip into an external rotation. So from here, squeezing the core into the ground, lifting the glutes up towards the sky, stretching that right hip nice and open. Again, I'm neutralizing the spine, but also coming into a open hip as well to the right side. Good. Lifting the heart a little bit more. Maybe bring the shoulder blades in towards one another. Juicy stretch this one. And exhale, rolling all the way down towards the ground. Unhooking that foot. Taking the hips so they're nice and neutral again. Draw the left knee in towards the chest. Maybe give it a bit of a squeeze. Hook it over the top of the right foot. From here, push the ground away with the bottom foot. Squeeze the core to help the spine. Push the ground away. Let that left hip really open up. So the more you squeeze the right glute, the more you'll notice that left hip stretching. Good. Maybe you can walk the hands in towards under one another, clasping the hands together. Good, last breath here. Releasing the hands if you have them entwined, and slowly releasing yourself down to the floor. Squeezing the knees in towards the chest one last time. And then you have the option here of taking 5 breaths in either your Supta Bakasana, so supine butterfly pose, hands come to the top of the thighs, or one hand onto the belly, one hand onto the heart. Or we can take a nice happy baby, lengthening through the spine, drawing the knees down in towards the chest. So do whatever feels good. Maybe a couple of breaths in each. Keep drawing the tailbone down towards the top of the mat if you're in happy baby. If you're in your butterfly pose, try to relax the hips so knees want to slowly melt down towards the mat. Got 2 more breaths in each one. And wherever you are, we'll find our last posture of the day, our Shavasana. So if you're in your butterfly pose, maybe you want to do the opposite. So bring the knees in together, knocking them, and then bringing the feet out to the outside edges, pigeon-toeing the toes, finding a nice bit of compression in the lower portion of the spine. Or if you prefer to have your legs out nice and long, please do that. Wherever you are, find your pose that you can fully relax in. You don't have to think. You can just allow gravity to do the work, melting your weight into the ground, closing the eyes. Taking 3 last mindful breaths to close the practice. Refocusing now on that belly elevating up towards the ceiling. On the inhale, and as you exhale, allowing it to drop down towards the floor. One more breath just like that. And exhale, release. I encourage you to stay here for as long as you have time for. We don't often give ourselves permission or time to absorb our practice fully anymore, so I'm giving you that permission, I'm giving you that time. So be here, be still, be present. Thank you for practicing with me today. I've loved joining you on the mat. And I hope to see you in the next video again soon. Namaste.